So what I'm saying here, this is my athlete, Nick. He's a good athlete. He's a hockey player. So during the winter, he spends a lot of time on the ice, and he picks up this movement flow. Let's just play it here first. We're doing snatches off low blocks. He's got about 65 kilos on the bar, which is really close to his max. And one of the things I've noticed from Nick is when he gets to his heavier weights, especially in competition, this little movement flow here where he twists a little bit doesn't allow him to stay stacked from the bottom through the hips, up through the arms, and he gets called for a right arm press out a lot. And that kind of, that's his best lift. He gets lifts overhead. He makes lifts, but he gets red lighted. And again, Nick has no pain. Nick has no injury in his hip or his knees, but we're missing lifts on the platform. And I am concerned about his health. I think at some point he will have pain from this. I don't want that to happen, but I also want him to be successful on the platform. So let's take a look here and let's see what we think is going on. So he gets set up and finishes. And here on the catch, this is where we start to see the feet. Right, you can see this foot here and this foot here. They're not really symmetrical. And as they come down, we see this right knee, right? You see that right knee? Actually, it comes this way across his body, and then you see his foot twist a little bit, and he kind of pushes to his left to stand up. And that actually was kind of a tame twist. Sometimes it's much worse than that. So what do you think? What do you see, I should say?
So I think if we take this all the way back to his setup, I think it starts with his setup, and okay. we're looking at hip position, torso position, even head position. You can see his shoulders. So right away you can see that he's kind of in his hip right here, right? So okay. He never gets out of this right hip's down a little bit, left hip's elevated a little bit.
Okay.
And even looking at the angle of his shoulders there, you can see that he is already oriented in a position where he's rotated into his right hip.
Gotcha.
So first, he's already starting in, and with his background as a hockey player too, a right dominant hockey player, like he's already kind of set up in this right side, right?
Makes sense, totally.
Yep. So starting there, like we want to make sure that his hips are in a good position, his torso's in a good position before we even get him into the setup. Like he's already leaning off of that left leg, right? So then when he goes through the first pull, you can see right there, like again, like you see he's pulling, he's still right side as he's coming, right?
Yep.
Even here, he's still kind of right-sided. You can see like he's almost pushing through this foot more than the left, right? And as he kind of comes to standing, he's still, even if we go back into that last picture, keep going, yep. Here, stop. He's still kind of dominant in that right ab wall into that right hip a little bit.
And that's the foot that makes contact first, right? So he wants stability on that right leg.
Like we're looking at a bilateral lift, but he's never getting onto his left side. He's like, I think we could probably even get him more power by getting him, see, right hip still here, right dominant, and then he's pushing through and rotating out of that lift.
Yeah, and then as he stands up,
it's all right.
It's all right side pushing over to the left.
Yep. So I think, initially we want to make sure before he even gets into a setup that his hips are in a good position so that he's going to mechanically, everything's going to be positioned to perform optimally. So I think right away we get him in a better position, we get him mechanically working better, we get him some weight on his lifts.
Okay,
right?
great.
And then we also, while improving performance, we're going to reduce his risk of injury because he's going to be mechanically more sound.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So
even here, you can see. It's all right side.
He is all right-sided.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's he's leaning here into the right side a little bit.
Right.
He's never shifting and what I'd call lateralizing onto the left. So he's an asymmetrical athlete, and then making sure we bring him off of that asymmetry to more bilateral, symmetrical, sagittal dominant lift.
Cool. So in the short term, me as his coach, I can just make sure he's setting up properly and trying to be on both legs at the same time. A little bit better.
Yeah.
secondarily, what kind of things would you have him do, and we can do this in the next videos for sure, what corrective type exercises, are there corrective type exercises that you think could be used to fix this?
Of course. So when you say, setting him up and making sure he's feeling the floor equally on both,
Yeah.
Sometimes that might just be based on hip position. It might be tough for him just to set up bilaterally.
Right.
So that's what we're going to learn in the course, how to assess hip position, how to make sure that they're prepared to feel the floor equally on both sides. And then on that, of course, you have your foundation of the hips and the pelvis and being stable there. But how does that stack up with where the rib cage is positioned to make sure the shoulder's in a good position for stability and mobility and all that? So we're going to learn assessment techniques to know those positions, to make sure the athlete can achieve the right spot.
Right.
And then after we know that we can get them in the right spot, we're going to get them there and then keep them there.
Okay, great. Sounds good. I've learned so much already, and it's only been a few minutes. Very good. Thanks, John.
Yep.
So as you can see, there's a lot you can learn from an expert like John when it comes to setting up your athletes correctly and preparing them for success. I'm very excited for Nick to get back in here so I can start working on his balance between right and left and see if we can make him a little bit better. John, in the meantime, where can people reach you and learn more about you, about what you do?
Yeah, I try to be pretty active on social media, so Twitter and Instagram, I'm at John Herting, JONHERTING. Facebook, same thing, John Herting, and you'll find me pretty easily on there. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, John. Hope you guys learned something, and stay tuned for more.
All right, thanks, Eric.